Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of Perfection Unfolding with me, your host, Cara G. I am a certified somatic practitioner. I am a lover of learning. I am a health coach, certified. I'm also a graphic designer, a photographer, a lover, a grudge holder in certain circumstances. But mostly I am a person living my life every day, trying my best, showing up to this podcast with hopes that the mess that I go through and talk about and the vulnerability that I share helps you be and feel emboldened to be vulnerable in your own life and or try and or feel less alone in the mess that you're navigating. And I hate to say it, but all of us go through mess all the time because last time I checked, nobody knows what they're doing. So if that's your vibe, welcome to the show. Today I am going off the cuff to talk about how important it is to give ourselves grace while in transition, okay? If you've been watching the show on YouTube, if you're just listening, let me set the scene. Last time I checked in with you guys was about a month ago, so I have not been here for the last couple weeks because I've been moving, and I have been moving into my parents' house, okay? Welcome. This is not my usual setup. I don't have my pink lights. I don't have my couch in my condo. I am on the floor in my new bedroom. Things are a mess. There's pictures on the ground. There's like things that need to be hung up, things that need to be put away. My bookshelves. I brought my bookshelves, forgot my books, put the books in storage. Doesn't make any sense. And so last week I felt that, I told myself I was going to give myself at least 2 weeks of just not showing up because moving is a lot and I know what my capacity is and what my limits are. And then last week came and then last week left and I kind of got that ping of, I should have recorded today, which I know I've said this before, but shoulds equal shame. Okay. And that's what I want to get into today is how, in transition, things are incredibly messy, okay? In transition, you are in the liminal space. And in my life on the grand scale, I have felt like I have been in the liminal space for months, basically a year, if I'm being totally honest. And it has to do with, my last episode, which I talked about my last relationship. So I feel like I've been in transition forever, and I finally felt like in this move that I would be getting my feet back on the ground. And in a lot of ways that's true, but you can't rush the process, okay? I am so sure in my choice to move. I am so sure in the things that I'm accomplishing as I move forward in my career, in my life, for this podcast. However, I get incredibly impatient. Okay, and I know lots of you can probably resonate with that sentiment of just the impatience of knowing what you want and not getting it when you want it, and not already having the thing. It takes time, it takes effort, it takes consistency, but mostly it takes patience. Excuse me, I haven't had enough water today. It mostly takes patience and also a faith, and not just the religious kind, but the kind that believes that you will get what you desire. It just takes a little while for your vision, for your life to catch up with your vision. And so I have this vision for myself, and honestly, the vision for myself, like, it's gonna come to fruition like years from now. So you can imagine as an impatient girly how like knowing that is one thing, but then like actually experiencing it is a different thing. Again, I'm sure that this move is right for me, but the weeks and of time that it takes just to get your stuff packed and to paint the walls for your tenants to move in and to and of course the week before you move out, what happens? Your dryer breaks. You have to call someone to come fix your dryer. And guess what? It doesn't just break once, it breaks twice. So that's 2 different payments you have to put down. It's like as soon as you decide you want something, all these obstacles get put in the way to whether it is to deter you, I don't think that the universe is conspiring against me in any way. I think it's just like whatever could happen will happen, and it does happen. And and so that's what my last couple of weeks have looked like. It's looked like me being in transition, me literally packing and unpacking my life. In more ways than one, because I told you last time I'm moving in with my parents. I've moved in with my parents now. We're on week 2. And, love my parents, but the realities of doing that at the ripe old age of 31, especially when you've already lived in your own home that you pay for every month, there are some things that I'm coming up against, both mentally and spiritually, emotionally, that I'm like, okay, I anticipated this, but it's one thing to think about something and another thing to experience something. And so that's also happening right now. And so all of this to say, the transition, the whirling around of my physical life and my mental, emotional life, it's all happening at once, because guess what? When it rains, it pours, good, bad, or otherwise. And so in that, you can imagine how unhelpful it is for me to, as this woman with high standards for myself and for the people around me, to think, and you know what else I need to add on top of this? The stress and pressure of showing up for an extracurricular activity that I told myself I would do. It's like, yes, it is important to me, but me spiraling into, going into a shame spiral of, I should be recording my podcast. I should be doing something creative. I should be doing my Cara 75. I should. I'm shooting myself to death when I'm literally just need some space to breathe. I literally just need some grace for myself and to allow myself to relax and to rest and to tell myself, this was enough. You did enough today. You unpacked your box, you put your clothes up. This is enough for now. You've been giving your energy to this thing while also still working full time, That's enough. It's plenty. Your cup overfloweth with tasks and work and things that need to get done. Trust yourself, okay? You're going to get back to the podcast. You're going to get back to the goals that you have. There are so many things it's not just this podcast. There are so many educational works that I've invested in recently that I want to watch. One of them being a YouTube masterclass by the one and only Glow Atonmo. I've talked about her before. She actually, what was exciting to me was that a couple weeks ago, she put a call out for people with YouTube channels and was like, dropped the username in my comments. I'm going to give away this YouTube masterclass to, 10 winners. And, she went through 50 people's YouTube channels and she picked mine as one of the 10, which totally I've never won anything like that before in my whole life because I've never shown up to anything like this consistently in my whole life. And so when she chose me, I had this wave of validation wash over me that made me incredibly proud and emotional and oh my God, I didn't know that I needed to hear that. I didn't know that I needed that kind of pat on the back and a thumbs up, you're doing something cool, keep going, keep going. And so that got me really excited. And of course that happened right in the middle of my move. And so I've been, chomping at the bit, wanting to go watch that masterclass and ingest it and learn it. And, can't stop moving. Can't just snap my fingers and unpack all my stuff. Can't just snap my fingers and be comfortable in a space. I've done a lot of work. I've put up my artwork, which you'll see probably next week. I'll have a better setup, for my podcast. Hopefully it might just be in my room. We're hanging out. It might just be on my floor. Maybe this is the new spot, Maybe I might get a little cozier. I don't know. But I can't stop all these things while I also want to accomplish other things. And I don't think that shame is the way that I'm going to accomplish those things. I think, yes, I can do everything, but I cannot do everything all at once. Okay? I'm excited about all these things, and I'm excited about this move because of what it means to me and what it represents. I'm excited about this transition, but I can't skip over it, you know? And, you know, I was talking to my friend the other day who is like excited to buy a new house. She's excited to get out of the house she's in for various reasons. And she's excited to buy a new one. And we were having a conversation because she was like, oh my gosh, I found the dream house. But I can't, and Shirley, shout out to you. We've been having a lot of conversations recently. But she's like, I found my dream house, but I can't buy it until I sell my current house. Like, do I just say screw it and put an offer in? And, you know, I asked her, I'm like, you know, what's like your bottom line? And she was like, the bottom line is I need to sell my current house. And I said, okay, so let's sell this house and then you can shop when you're fed. Because before you sell this house, you're shopping and you're hungry, right? Like when you go to the grocery store and you're starving for dinner and you get to the store and you're like, oh my God, I'm insatiable. Like I just want to pick out all the junk. I want to pick out all the dessert. I want to pick out all my favorite things that probably aren't in line with my, you know, meal plan, if you will, if you want to follow this analogy with me. But if you were to just go full, you'd be like, okay, and I need this ingredient and I need this ingredient. And you're a lot more discerning, right? And I think for me, I love that analogy. Like what it tells me is like, I need to feed myself with relaxation. I need to feed myself with organization. I need to feed myself by flowing with this transition. Because if I'm start running around and start shaming myself to death and not giving myself grace and not giving myself time and patience, I'm not going to do anything. And guess what's happened in the last, like, I felt the call to come back to this podcast last week. I shoulded myself to death last week. I shoulded myself to death yesterday because I normally record on Monday nights, and I did nothing. And at work today, I was so distracted because I just kept thinking about how I should have done my podcast. I needed to be creative. I haven't been creative. And then I did nothing. I was unproductive at work. And then, you know, it's towards the end of the day now on Tuesday where I normally upload these episodes. And I almost caught myself. I almost shitted myself to death today by being like, oh, well, I should record the podcast, but I don't have my setup. I should record the podcast, but I don't have my pink lights. And I should record my podcast, but I don't have any energy. I'm really tired. I just shitted myself all day. I shitted myself. Sorry. It sounded like I said I shitted myself. Anyway, I shoulded myself all day to the point where I almost didn't even record this. And then you know what I did? I said, Cara, done is better than perfect. We're not going to worry about the lights. We have a ring light. We have these little microphones. I'm not pulling out the podcast mic. We're just going to do it and give it whatever we have. Whatever comes to mind, no notes, no nothing. We're going to give it what we have. And the message that I needed to hear today, which maybe this is a message that you need to hear, is you cannot should yourself through transition. You cannot shame yourself through transition. Shame makes you feel bad. Shame is not an energizing energy, an energizing force, an energizing thought. Shame makes you small. Shame convinces you that doing nothing is better, right? Shame makes you want to do nothing because you don't feel excited. You feel squashed. It makes me feel squashed, right? So instead, I said, you know what? No. I am going through transition. I am having this experience, an experience that I chose, that I wanted, and I'm going to give it the air it needs to breathe. I'm going to let it expand. I'm going to give it what it needs, and I'm going to use my discernment to know when it's over. Okay? Me showing up for this video is me saying it's not over, but I can't give it as much energy as I'd like. So that's me today on my phone using my little microphone, which I'm not even sure if this audio is even picking up. This might just be my phone audio, and I'm holding this as a prop. Yeah, you know, I haven't ever used these microphones before, but I just had them and I said, you know what? It's easy. I grabbed it. Let's go. Okay. Done is better than perfect. And grace is the medicine that I need. And when I catch myself in this should spiral, this shame spiral, because shame does not motivate me to do anything. Okay, I don't know about you, but I feel the opposite. I feel, you know what? Yeah, I should just give up because it's not perfect. I should just give up because I didn't show up last week, and so I should never show up again. What is that logic? What is that logic? It isn't logical. It is the opposite of logical. It's illogical. I could just do it. There's no shoulds. I could. I could show up to this podcast today with whatever energy I have, which is what I am. I could allow myself to take a breath and to expand into this new journey and path that I'm taking. I have had I've been thinking about doing this for months. And I've been checking in here and being like, it's hard and it's not easy, but I'm doing it and I feel confident in it. And that's taken a lot of energy. And here I am at the end of this transition. I've said the word transition 1,000 times, take a shot every time I do, but I'm at the end of it and I'm about to trip at the 1 yard line. It's like, no, I'm going to make this touchdown. I'm going to score this goal. No one's going to keep me from making these 7 points or these 6 points, whatever, plus a field goal, to take the analogy all the way through. No, I'm going to make this touchdown and I'm going to celebrate. And I'm going to mark the end of one chapter and the beginning of another. Ceremony and recognition are a huge part of the human experience. I feel like we as people, at least me, when there's ceremony, you can definitively mark the end of something and the beginning of another. And when you're in a liminal space, you don't have that, And right now I actually am closer to the end of this chapter than I was last week and even closer than I was the week before. And I'm seeing the next chapter. I'm getting excited. It's a good thing that I'm excited. It's a good thing that I'm looking forward to what's next. But I need to allow myself to complete this chapter before I jump to the next, which is something that as an ADHD girly, I tend to do. I get excited about the next thing and then I start doing it, but I don't do it to my fullest ability. I don't give it the attention that it needs. I kind of end up half-assing what I was doing and then what I wanted to do, and then I kind of give up midway because neither one are very well done, So I'm trying to break that pattern by allowing myself to finish this. And it might, quote unquote, look like I'm not doing much, but that's not true. I am doing so much. I just am giving things attention that I don't necessarily like to do, but they must be done. I need to organize my room so I have a fresh, beautiful place to do my work, to be creative, so that I can then, with my full attention, full capacity, take on my next endeavor, which is creating more podcast episodes, doing more reading. I don't have time to read when I'm organizing my life and putting up, artwork and diplomas and trying to navigate my social relationship with my family and the lack of social engagement I have in the town that I moved in because there's not a lot going on here. I'm trying to find a gym. I'm trying to figure out my new workout routine. I'm trying to do all of the administrative tasks, for my life. And if I don't do those things, if I don't set my foundation, if I don't have patience and give it the attention that it needs, then I'm not going to be able to thrive. Above that, the foundation will be wobbly, it'll be cracked. I'll be trying to be creative and reading and doing this podcast, and things are going to start crumbling around me because my health is going to suffer and my mental health is going to suffer, and that's not going to help anybody. So, grace is a massive ingredient to the transition recipe, okay? Perfectionism has no place here, okay? You cannot be perfect when you are literally growing new skin, okay? When you're literally molting and then bursting out of the old skin into this new body. That is not a pretty process. It's a nasty, ugly process, but it is beautiful in concept, okay? That's how I feel. I feel like I am molting. I'm like shedding a skin and I'm growing into this new, bigger, bolder, stronger, sexier body, you know? Both emotionally, spiritually, and physically. So, that is the message I have for today. It's a short episode. I know I have plugs for partners that I have, but I just could not, I did not have the capacity or the energy to write any notes for this. I just had to come on here and give this message to you, but also for me. Like, I am never going to come on here and speak about things that I don't also need to hear, right? This medicine is for me too. And, yeah, and I hope that helps in some way. Yeah, happy Tuesday. I'm taking this straight from phone into YouTube. So if you're on a YouTube journey too, if you're on a content creation journey, like, welcome to the club. We've got a little bit of everything here. This channel is all about documenting what it means to actually be alive and how to live an authentic experience and to accept what's true and to dream a bigger dream. This is me showing up for my dream, even if it's not exactly perfectly curated. Like, I don't even think I'm capable of perfect curation, if I'm being honest, because I feel like even if I did perfectly curate something, then it'd be missing a piece of authenticity that I think is like the magic of what this channel is and who I am as a person. And yeah, I hope that resonates. If you've been here, thank you so much for listening. If you're new here, welcome to the show. This is, in my ego is like, this isn't my best work, but my higher mind is like, it absolutely is. This could be the one video that, resonates with a million people and blows me up on the internet. Is that my goal? No, my goal is to show up as myself. If that happens, is that cool? Yeah, I guess. Who wouldn't love that kind of validation, for their message and who they are. So all that said, this has been another episode of Perfection Unfolding. If you like the show, please like this episode. Please subscribe to the channel. Share it with a friend who could use a little bit more grace in their life and a little less shame and far fewer shoulds, okay? Don't go around shitting yourself all day. I love you guys. Thank you so much for listening. I'll see you next time. Okay, bye.